Good morning and welcome back. And can I hear myself? Sort of. Hey, welcome back. We are back in rally mode in the market. And am I on? Let me see. Let me reset this because it doesn't seem like I'm on. It says error. Oh, there I am. Welcome back. We are back in rally mode on a Monday morning with some craziness going on. Another big rally as we head into the week. And just wanted to say hi to everybody. It's weird. I can't hear my microphone. Is anybody there? Can you hear me? Anyway, we are back in rally mode, and with the VIX VIX futures down, averaging like a point right now. Just let me know if you can hear me on this because I can't tell if I'm broadcasting properly here. We see VIX futures down a point right now as we come into the trading day with Tesla up over $60. More of a rally from all areas. Just an amazing run in Tesla lately. Can you guys hear me? I can't tell if I'm... Hello? Hold on one more second here. Let me just make sure that I'm legible here. Well, it looks like it's working. All right. So Tesla rallying. E-mini's up 40 right now, and the NASDAQ up 133 points. Thank you. Hey, welcome, Farhan. Thank you. With the Dow futures up 380 points. For those of you that still have your TVIX, you can see it's not updating now, although it still is trading on the pink sheets. And I'm not unaware of the fact that that I haven't been, since I've stopped being short VXX, I have lost out on a little down move. Let's take a quick look at VXX now, and you can see what I'm talking about. Let me get out of the way here. But, you know, I've been focused on other things and kind of hesitant to short volatility. But in the meantime, we have sold off. Look at this. So here's a 20-day chart, VXX, and it's come down nicely over the last few sessions. I missed out on that because I have not been short volatility here. Let's go to VIX Central and take a look at the VIX Term Structure. And we can see, once again, this election bump here is very interesting. You can see everything kind of leading up to October. Now, this expiration, October expiration is the last one before the election. And you can see stuff cranked up. And we're going to be ramping up into that. Now, this is going to create an advantageous situation for shorts because we're going to have increased contango as we move forward due to that election bump. Now, you know, the question is, does, you know, it's up, volatility is up high in that period for a reason, because it's expected for there to be some fireworks. So the question is, if you are going to short volatility and take advantage of the contango that exists, are the fireworks and the actual moves going to outweigh the decay from contango for you to be able to make money? Right now, contango at 3%, which is actually good for this year. We've noticed contango really low most of the year so far. But as I said, I personally have not wanted to be short volatility. I think that it's very strange that we continue to rally like this, and I would not be surprised. I don't think anybody would be surprised if we were to give something back from here. What's up, Al? So my journey lately has been to do with Lulu. Let's take a look quickly at Lulu here, which is up almost $5 before the open, which won't be good for me. I'm short about 40 deltas in Lulu. My position here, I'll show you briefly, is essentially I own some butterflies in Lulu. So if we look at my position here, I am along the September 240, 260, 280 butterfly. And when we name a butterfly, you can see it's 20 by 40 by 20. We name a butterfly by its wings, right? So the two outside options that are the smaller number of contracts, those are called the wings. And so if we're long the outside, then we call that being long the butterfly, because a butterfly is named based on its wings, as I said before. So this butterfly here, it doesn't expire for a while, but it makes us net short a little bit here. But I'm happy that coming into the weekend, all I had on was a put spread. So the fact that I did sell another put spread against it to make it this butterfly really kind of saved me today coming in, because instead of being short almost 300 deltas, I was only short 40. But yeah, my game lately, which is kind of new for me, is to during the daytime, during the trading day, I've gotten short Lulu, but I have been unwilling to carry the short overnight just because of things like right now. Now, if we do look at Lulu, this up move here doesn't seem that threatening to me. If we look at the last couple sessions, we can see that each session we have kind of opened up and then sold off again for the last 3 sessions. Look up, we open up, sells off, open up, sells off, open up, sells off. Now, nothing continues forever in the same pattern in the market, so we can't expect this to either. However, Lulu has been weaker. With up days in the market, Lulu has been going down. So once again, I'm not interested in losing a lot of money, so I'm not married to this strategy, and I've been very careful with my strategies. The other thing I have on is a very small position in UVXY, basically long one call spread and short another, which gives me, I think, 30 deltas, equivalent of 30 shares. So very small positions for me. I hope you guys are just staying safe. This is the kind of market where we just want to avoid, well, every market is the kind of market where we want to avoid losing money, but we want to be just very careful to avoid, once again, losing money. And I want to caution you also about this Tesla, because I feel the lure, and I'm sure you guys do too. It seems like, oh, wow, look at this Tesla. It goes up every day. Maybe I should, I wish I had been long this whole time in Tesla. Maybe I'll buy some here, and I will get to participate with everybody else as this continues to move higher. Well, what we call that sentiment, there's actually a name for that sentiment that I just described. It's called fear of missing out, or FOMO. And, we don't want to get into these games where, like, oh, well, it would have been great to have been long Tesla since it's gone up. It's gone up from basically 360 all the way to 1,200 in the last couple of months. And when you see that, you're like, oh, I wish I had gotten long at 360. And so there's a tendency to wish to buy Tesla here to participate as it, hopefully continues to move higher. I would caution people against this kind of trading, because I know, at least for me, if I were to buy Tesla right here, this would be the absolute top, and it would go straight down from there. So be careful about that. There's been a lot of negative news, and it's very hard to understand why the market moves the way it does. But I want to caution you about that as well. In most times, we don't know why the market moves the way it does. So why should now be any different? All we can really go on is the numbers that the market is giving us and what the market is doing. So I know people are getting killed here trying to short the market, and it just keeps going against them. So I would caution you about trying to pick where the top of the market is, because that's an extremely difficult thing to do. So my urging is caution right now. We have seen, as far as shorting the VIX and that sort of thing goes, we have seen the VVIX move lower. Now, if you watch someone like Theotrade, they place a certain significance on VVIX above 120, and VVIX has now lost that 120 level and moved lower. To me, it's all in the trend of the VVIX, and we see the trend of the VVIX moving down, and indeed we've seen the VIX move lower as well. And both of these things point to the market moving higher. So my big concern is kind of a macro concern, and has to do with this whole virus thing. And we've seen all of these cases explode in the U.S., but we significantly haven't seen the rate of deaths move higher. Remember, at the height of things in April, May, we had over 2,000 people dying a day in the U.S. Now we're down to like around 700, and it stayed low. But inevitably, if we keep with these new cases going up as they are, the death rate is going to start to rise, and I think that is going to be a something that's pretty scary, and the market, I think, may react to that to the downside. The other thing we have coming up, of course, Congress, the Senate, and is on break right now. The Senate is on break until July 17th. When they come back, they're going to have to deal with this stimulus package. Now, it's described in different ways. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been vocalizing about the unemployment benefits being continued. I know that Republicans are pushing for protections for companies against, employees and other people suing them to do with the COVID, and there is going to be some sort of deal struck, a compromise. So we don't know how that's going to look. Even the president has said that he's in favor of at least like one more payment to people. Remember, we had that payment to people of $1,200, a one-time sort of payment stimulus thing. But the big thing for many people is this enhanced unemployment benefit, where people get $600 extra a week, or they have been for a while. That is set to expire in July, and whether that gets renewed or not is going to have big implications, I believe, for the economy and people in general. It's kind of when all the news reports, and you hear this a lot in liberal media, that the benefits of the stimulus went largely to large corporations. Well, that is true to some extent, but don't discount the fact that this $600 enhanced unemployment benefit per week is not significant. It has not helped out a lot of people, because it has. It's a situation where the government has helped out the little guy a lot. So, and I believe this $600 thing has been a buffer between people and their finances completely falling apart, and has cushioned not only people's finances from falling apart, but also the economy, because it's created a multiplier effect, because that $600 mostly hasn't gone into savings. Now, there has been some increased savings, but a lot of people who have gotten that $600 are literally living check to check, and thus have put that money right back into the economy. So it's a big deal what happens with this next stimulus package, which, as I said previously, the Senate is on break until July 17th. Then they come back, and we only have less than 2 weeks till the end of the month, and this $600 enhanced unemployment runs out at the end of the month. So how the government handles this situation will have large implications, I believe, for the stock market. I also believe that once, inevitably, with the rise in cases that we've seen, dramatic rise in cases in Florida, Arizona, and Texas, following behind that, maybe in a lag of up to a month, we will start to see the death rate rise again. Now, where this spike in cases kind of peaks, when it peaks, where it peaks, and then how the death rate follows that is going to be very important. And it's not going to be something that even the president will be able to ignore if we get, heaven forbid, back to that 2,000 a day people dying, or if it gets even worse than that. So keep that in the background. And this is one of the reasons why, A, I'm not interested in buying the market here, and B, I'm not interested in selling volatility here, because I'm concerned about these market things. Now, so far, the market has completely just shook this stuff all off. And when I talk to many people who are along the market, they're not concerned about any of this stuff at all, and they've just put this whole virus thing behind them, and they're just moving forward, and they think that these companies are going to do great, and this is a new sort of renaissance. There's a disconnect between that, however, and actually what is happening in our lives in America. I mean, where I am, people are still, you're wearing masks every day. People are not going out in public, and this crisis is still very much with us. So those are some of my thoughts. I'm interested to know what you think about these things. Hello, Anti-God. What's going on? How much will it be? There is no. We don't know what sort of compromise the parties will make. Just to explain the situation one more time, the House of Representatives in the United States, which is controlled by the Democrats, did pass a bill, which then gets sent to the Senate, and then the Senate, which is controlled by the Republicans, have to negotiate how the final bill will be, and then it needs to be signed by the president. So we have to wait and see what happens with that. I had a friend contact me and say, oh, no, well, the $600 thing is over with. They've decided not to do it. Nothing is decided until this bill actually goes through. Now, there will be some sort of stimulus bill that goes through, and we will know what is in there when it does go through, but that is not expected to happen until later in July. Now, it seems apparently right now, as days go by, the situation on the ground appears to be getting worse. We don't know if that will continue to be the case as we move forward into the end of July. We do know, though that with benefits set to run out at the end of July, this is at the front and center for the United States Congress to deal with moving forward. As far as the Supreme Court, we still have cases ahead of the Supreme Court to do with birth control, and also to do with the president's taxes and whether the taxes will be, his tax information will be released. Now, if I were to make a prediction, which, what do I know? I don't know anything. But we've seen several of these decisions go in a way that you could call it, to call it very briefly, you could say sort of a liberal victory, that being the Supreme Court decision that went in the way of protecting abortion. The decision, there's been a couple decisions lately that have kind of gone the way of the liberal judges, with Judge Roberts casting the final vote. But I would suspect that the conservatives will have some sort of victory, and probably that will be with the president's taxes not being released. But we have to wait and see what happens with that moving forward. Let's see. Doing the same thing. So 2 shots. Doing the same thing I said last Monday. Worked like a charm. Straddle SPX for Friday. Turn the side that moves it into a vertical. So you're saying 2 shots getting long straddles in SPX? Is that what you're saying? Darren Vincent, don't forget about herd immunity. Yes, Darren, excellent point. That up till now, we have not seen the death rate rise. Also, there was some studies out of Milan. Now, remember, Milan in Italy, one of the worst hit places, where they were getting much more of a better handle on treating people in the hospitals, and a much lower rate of death from people in the hospital. So we may come out of this unscathed, and we may not see the death rate rise at all. That's certainly a possibility, and that's certainly what we hope for. Herd immunity is also a possibility. Now, we don't know for sure, or even I don't think at all really, how much of the U.S. has actually been exposed to the virus. The range runs anywhere from 5% to 60% or something. It's all the estimates of that are all over the place. And certainly if all these infections only result in a very, 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 very small percentage of deaths, then that's great news. And that's certainly a possible outcome, because once again, we don't know how this everything about virus. And medicine is certainly an inexact science, so we don't know. Now, if we were to take the market as being some sort of truth, if the market tells us that there's not going to be more deaths, right? Because the situation is going to resolve itself in a more positive way than the newspapers and everybody is saying, because market's rallying like crazy. Now, even the most ardent market supporters would say, of course, the market is not the economy, and of course, but I want everybody to just be careful. Now, what Two Shots is talking about is what TheoTrade is talking about as well, which is basically this is a premium buyer's market. This is a market where if you own options, you can make money on those options because we see a lot of moves outside of the expected range. What does that mean? Well, if we pull up the SPX, any volatility level is associated with an expected move in the underlying security. So if we pull up the SPX and we look at any expiration, for example, if we look at the expiration in 9 days, it's a 23 volatility representing a 98-point move one way or the other in the SPX. We've tended lately to move out of that. If this was a 98-point expected move, we've tended to move farther than that lately. And thus, if you move around more than what is expected by the options, you tend to make money owning options. If you move around less than the options, you tend to move around. If you end up moving less than options, then the people that are short options are going to end up making money. And that's kind of the way it is. Now, if you watch TheoTrade, they've made a bunch of statements about how it makes sense to be long options lately. And I certainly see the rationale in that. And that's part of the reason why I've been willing to, why I've been laying off kind of selling premium lately, because we have had a craziness about the market. When I don't understand, stuff, what's going on, then I tend to lay off and not want to have a bunch of risk on, and that kind of makes sense. And what Two Shots is talking about is buying options in the SPX. Now, the SPX being the broad market. Remember, 80% of all trading in the world goes through the SPX in one way or another. And certainly buying call options has been working lately with a rally up. But you need to kind of be selective as to what options you're going to buy, really, is my idea on that. But yeah, Darren, great point with the herd immunity possibility. We have not seen the death rate rise, which is in the end more important than how many infections there are. How many people die is more important than how many infections there are. Now, this, it's not a good sign when you've got so many infections, and we're hearing more and more reports of hospitals being filled up. Now, if they've gotten better treatments, that's great. But if you can't get a bed, it doesn't matter, right? So at some point, if we just keep getting this explosion of infections, it's obviously going to overwhelm the medical system, and we certainly don't want that. But yeah, we haven't seen the death rate rise, which is great news, and I hope it continues to go in that direction. So there we have it. Hey, what's up, Brent? Yeah, I guess you can check back because and watch the tape if you missed the beginning part. So we see we've got just a couple minutes to the open here, and VXX is indicated down a point and change. I think I speak probably for Brent and I when I say I'm still getting a lot of questions about TVIX. There's still people asking me on the video about what they should do with their TVIX, which means that some people still obviously own TVIX. If you still own TVIX and you don't know what to do, I would reach out to your brokerage and ask them how you can get out of TVIX. Now, people kind of read the literature and they say, when am I going to get my money from Credit Suisse? You're not going to get money back from Credit Suisse. What you need to do is you need to sell your security that you're long to get money back. So you need to sell your TVIX to somebody else. And the way you're going to do that is through the pink sheets or through the over-the-counter market. So don't wait for Credit Suisse to somehow like refund your money if you're still long a TVIX or UGAS or DGAS. Go to your brokerage, ask them what exchange you can use to sell your shares, and that's the best way to get out of it. I'll try to get more information for you on that moving forward as far as what the new symbols are and where you can trade these products moving forward. Kaufman getting ripped. I took... so, excuse me. Yeah, it was funny watching... I mean, not funny. Let me choose my words carefully. A lot of times you'll see when Dan Kaufman doesn't do so well, he'll have that Corey guy do the video the next day. And we know that he was talking a lot about being short all these issues, and then they didn't go down, they went against him. And you know, it kind of upsets me when I hear somebody say they have a position and then it goes against them, and then they come on and they say how well they did, because it seems there's something that's not quite ringing true there, right? But I think that I think there's a lot of value in watching Theo trade, even though the guy is obviously a perma bear and does not do well in up markets. There is a lot of value in what they have to say. But yeah, I mean, he's he's a perma bear. That's just the way it is. In a sense, I don't. Like I said, I think that Don Kaufman is a genius. He's a very smart guy and stuff. I never really saw him as a trader. I saw him more as like a think or swim, like chart strategist, not chart strategist, but like programmer kind of guy. Because he doesn't come from like, I know he grew up in the floor trading world, but I never really saw him as a floor trader. He was like the son or the nephew of floor traders, and anyways, but I think there's some value in what he has to say, certainly, and he's got some great ideas on there. But they're different than mine, and we all have our own ideas, of course. So you benefit from watching different traders and getting a perspective from everybody. Yeah, Delta Neutral is good, 2 shots. I don't have a crystal ball either. Mine's been stuck in the shop for some time now, unfortunately. But looks like we are slightly off the highs in this market right now as we come into the open. I am going to let you go so that we can trade today, but be very careful this week. I just want to see you guys hold on to the money you have, and don't get too big in one direction, because we do certainly have the potential to rip one way or the other here out of nowhere, and I think it's coming. And the things are on the horizon for me are just watching this COVID data, because it's got to reflect in the market at some point. We can't just go straight up forever. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Be careful and enjoy your summer. You're watching Famous Dave.